all the stuff about how they're just posturing to keep him with value, I agree with you on that, Joe, when they say that maturity thing over and over again. It's not the on the field, it's the off the field. No, it's the on the field.
Right. They're trying to continue to push the message that that's not why he got benched last year. And maybe that is not why they finally decided, okay, we're taking him off. But if he had been producing at a rate of, if he was having an 1,100-yard season last year and he was showing up late to meetings and they were furious with him because he wasn't taking it seriously, maybe they bench him for a game. Maybe they bench him for a quarter again, or do they do something like that? Maybe they fine him, but they're not taking him off the field for half the season, which is what they did, right? Like even in the games he was active, he didn't really play. It's way more than just the maturity factor. I think there are a couple of different possibilities with him next year. I think one of them is they're talking right now like this just to keep as much trade value as they can for him after what Pegula said at the press conference, because they do want to trade him and they're just trying to win back some leverage and convince teams that they don't have to do it. And that's how you get your leverage back and you get a day 3 pick. That could be what's happening. It could be that they actually believe that he's a part of it and that he's back next year. And then that splinters off into, okay, well, if he's on the team, is he on the field playing a role for you some of the time, a lot of the time, none of the time? Is he suddenly going to be asked to be this special teams guy for you? Because typically, if you're on the bottom of the roster at that position, you are asked to do things like that. And is that in his future? Would they even bother asking him for that if they don't think he's a trustworthy and responsible player? Is he going to move into the slot? Like, to me, you have these, 4 or 5 different possibilities. If he's on the roster, one of them would just be he's inactive all the time and he's just a backup. And the other is all of this is just talk and they're trying to get a 5th-round pick for him.
Hopefully it's all talk.
What's the most likely of those? That he's on the team and he's a backup that's inactive? Or that he's a guy that plays a lot?
It's difficult to figure because the goal is obviously to have the best team you can, and there's no doubt that let's play the player, not the game here. We know that the GM is, by his own words, his own description, passionate, right? He likes to pound the table for what he believes in. When he was asked at the end of season press conference about coming on our station that day, he said, "I'm passionate." And speaking to Tyler Dunn about the Joe Brady hire, he said, bleep the outside. And he later explained, "I'm passionate. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I stand up for what I believe in." So, if you just kind of read that part of it, if he believes in the kid, then he's going to continue to believe in him. And if he ends up turning into what Tage Thompson and Matthias Samuelson did, which is boy, those things look like they're dead in the water, and, turns out they're great players, he likes to say, if I'd listened to people on Josh Allen, Josh Allen was just, this guy looks really raw, and I don't know if he's going to be a good quarterback. He has a rocket arm, but he doesn't. And that turned out to be great too. So, it's all about how much you believe in something versus what you could get for it. I don't have any doubt if somebody offered him a 1st-round pick, they'd take it in a second. But a 6th-round pick, that's Boogie Basham all over again. That's, here I am very quickly admitting or cutting my losses, depending on, how much you're going to inject your own politics, your own belief into what Coleman is. So what's the line then? At what point does it become this is just not worth it because all it is I'm taking the L? Sure. I'm not really getting anything. When the Commanders traded Jahan Dotson, who was even a higher pick than Coleman. I think he went 16th the year that he got drafted. When they traded him, they got a 3rd-round pick for him. Yeah. I think they would do that in a heartbeat if someone offered that for Coleman. I think they should do a 4th and a heartbeat. What's the most likely scenario? Here it is. It's a pick slide. The most likely is it's a 6th for a 4th. You get Coleman in a 6th, and we get a 4th. And again, I want to play the player a little bit here. What does Beane say when? Again, this is a little bit to Tyler Dunn when they hired Joe Brady. I knew it wouldn't be popular. I don't care. Does he care about some things that are popular? If they were to dump Coleman and remake the room with a little bit more freedom to not have Coleman there, I think it would be a very popular move. Does he care that it would look good? I'm not quite sure if he does or not. The one thing I also want to say, like, they what he said yesterday at the Combine is something he said before. Like, it is kind of their truth or their message. Everyone saw him at camp out there. I saw him at camp. I did not think he looked anything crazy at camp. Like, any idea he had some great camp. I mean, to me,
he did when he was being covered by the interns.
He did,
which was the joke, but it was true. It was like it was based in fact. Like all his greatest catches he wasn't being covered by actual players.
Right. He will look great making spinning, leaping touchdown catches in the end zone in those drills. But anytime I saw him, I thought, like, yeah, looks like the same guy. Nothing crazy, nothing great. Part of the story at training camp was how sticky the Bills' corners were. That was a big story of camp, the whole camp, and turns out like we kind of know why. So, with Coleman, I don't know what to think. If they moved him, I'd feel great because I would feel like they have a lot of space to remake their room as it is. Joe Brady also yesterday said that Khalil Shakir can do a lot more for them, and that includes not like the short stuff. Good.
Right.
I agree with that. You want me to galaxy brain the wide receiver conversation on what they're saying about Shakir? Here it is.
Yeah.
If they say Shakir can play inside and outside, and they say Shakir can, go down the field a little bit more, that is debatably true about the outside. I don't really buy it. They said it when they drafted him, and he never has played out there or succeeded out there. But it would mean that they don't think they are locked into a type. They don't have to draft X. They can draft the best player who might also take some of the spots that Shakir takes on the field from time to time. That's debatable if you think that could happen.
Right.
But that's to me, why would you say it? It's because you're just going to go out and get the best player, which is another thing Beane said yesterday. Just get me the best players, and our coaches will find how to use them. I see people that love that. I certainly wonder about that. The NFL is a highly specified job and position. They are measuring defensive ends' arm's length at the Combine. Why? Because there are analytical profiles on who succeeds and who doesn't. How tall is he actually? How fast does he run? What's his 3-cone? You could say, get me good football players. This whole week is about finding the finest details about what a guy can and can't do. So I get a little nervous when I hear just get good football players. I need fits. Guys have to fit other than just like grab anybody. So we'll see.
I mean, that is definitely true to me at that position right now because of it. I can't believe that at this point they would still be planning as though Shakir's a guy that can win for them on the outside. Like we are into his what year is this going to be for him? Fifth or sixth year in the league. Like he's been around. And him suddenly figuring out how to do that, to me, just is not a bankable commodity at all or a plan of action at all. And then I've got Palmer that can do that out there. I'm going to have a special teams guy that's just going to be on the roster, whoever that is, your Tyrell Shavers replacement. And then it's also pigeonholing Coleman into a certain role if he is here. And like to me, I think your slot guys next year should just be Shakir and Coleman. And you should plan around that. That Curtis Samuel's gone. Curtis Samuel was kind of like your other slot guy. I mean, he also was kind of your gadget guy, your yak guy, screens. Sometimes like you would hand it to him on an end around. He was supposed to be able to play in the backfield. That never really happened. Like he was that role. But slot and like kind of your backup slot was really where he fell into. Like if you want Coleman around, just make that Coleman. And then build around that. Don't tell me Shakir can play on the outside anymore. Don't tell me Coleman can play on the outside anymore. You'll have those two, ideally in the slot, get a special teams receiver, and then you've still got two guys that you can add to that room that just, like, or maybe not just do that thing, but that is where their strength lies. And I think until they do that, the receiving room is not fully formed with all the types of guys that you need. They've been missing those types of guys, so they've at least been cheap about it. They've been Brandon Cooks on $900,000 deals.
8030550. What percentage of Bills fans want to trade for A.J. Brown? You want to know? I didn't put a price on it. Just do you want the Bills to swing for A.J. Brown? Now, maybe some vote yes because they think it'll be cheap. Some vote no because they think it'll be expensive. But
some might vote no. If they heard my brother on with me last week on the one day you were off, they might have been turned off to it because of all the there is a lot with him there. Lou, though, landed in, like, I think he's worth all of it. Like, yes, there's a lot. It's a headache. He does a lot of stuff, social media, locker room stuff, like more than I even knew when he was breaking it down with us. And at the end, he's like, yeah, but he's worth all of it.
Yeah, they never stopped Super Bowl parades because there was a headache on one of the floats. Right? Never happened.
Right.
That's not to say A.J. Brown's my favorite idea, but Howie Roseman said you don't get rid of guys like that. Nick Sirianni has said they want him there, but they can't guarantee anything. But today at NFL.com, in a piece written by Nick Shook, he writes he lays it out like everybody does for the Bills and A.J. Brown in every single piece. He says the Eagles might be able to extract the most value from a team like the Bills, who have desperately needed a top receiver. And then he goes on to say it should cost the Bills a significant amount, but if ever there were a time for Buffalo to push all of its chips to the center of the table, it's now. So there you go. A.J. Brown is under contract through age 32, basically. His cap number from this day forward is in the 20s. It's
unless you trade for him. The team that gets him is 7.
That's only this year, right?
This year. I have no idea what it would be next year.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I think part of why it would be lower is because, no, you're right. Like, there's signing bonus stuff because he's one of these guys where the base salary is super low.
Yes, he has option bonuses and signing bonuses every year. So after a certain day. Right. But on Brown, like, just to get you the result of this poll real quickly, 54% no. Do not want the Bills to swing for A.J. Brown.
Well, it's pretty close to a coin flip, though.
Pretty close to 50-50. And again, if it was like a third, a defined value, you might get people swinging either way. 803-0550. Taron Johnson at safety?
I do have a list in front of me of guys that have transitioned from corner to safety in the league.
I'll give you my stat of the day on this idea when we get back. Joe Marino, Locked On Bills podcast. He comes up at 7 o'clock. Sal from the Combine at 8. Jeremy and Joe on WGR.